Good morning, dear friends. How are you? I welcome you all to my Jyotish channel, KK Sara Jyotish. In the series of professional analysis, I have brought you the analysis of medical field today for you. The combination of planets for becoming a doctor in your birth chart. See, for becoming a doctor, if you wish to become a doctor, you should analyze only four planets in your birth chart. The first one is Mars. That is very important because if Mars is good, robust, and well placed at your birth chart, it gives you the courage, action, instant decision, fearlessness, especially for surgeons, because they have to deal with the blood and operating a body. It needs courage, and Mars is the Karaka for courage. So Mars must be good. If Mars is not good at your Kundli, you can't be an allopathic doctor. Second is the Sun. The Sun is the Karaka of soul, confidence, higher position in the society. So Sun should also be good in your birth chart. Third one is the Jupiter. Jupiter gives you the feeling of public service, public welfare. It gives you the feeling. So this profession, medical profession, or means being a doctor, is directly connected to the public welfare of people. So the feeling of public welfare must be there in the heart of a doctor, and the aspect of the Jupiter grants it. So Jupiter should also be good, and it should be having an aspect on your Mars and Sun that is good for your birth chart. The fourth one is the Moon. The Moon is the Karaka of your mind, your heart, your man, you can may call it. Besides, it is the Karaka of herbs as well in medical field. In most of the charts I have seen that moon is mostly afflicted, because when moon gets afflicted, it does not make you emotionally strong. It gives you the power to see a patient tossing with pain on bed. You do not get over emotional, because if a doctor gets emotional, he cannot cure a patient. So affliction of moon is often seen in doctors' birth chart. They might be placed at 6, 8, and 12, or you may call it 3 houses, or being aspected by bad planets like Saturn, Mars. They might be having an afflicted aspect on the moon. So, how all these things happen? Let us see in the chart. Let us see. This is the birth chart, and this is your ascendant, house number 1, known as Lagna. This is for body, your personality, your disposition is just from here in this house. This is second house, known for wealth. Wealth is seen from here, second house. Third house is of courage. Fourth house is for worldly possessions. Fifth house is for your education. This house, sixth house is for diseases. Seventh is for partner. Eighth house is for long-term disease and research. Age. This house is of your luck. 10th house is of your profession. This 11th house is fulfillment of desire. 12th house is of hospital, jail, and expenses. So these are the houses. And for becoming a doctor, what we should see, we should look at the fifth house, this education. If the house of education is making connection with your 10th house, that is house of profession. If such connection is established in your birth chart, it means that you can go in medical field, especially if Mars and Sun are here and making connection with the 10th house, then you can go for medical field. Besides, in this 10th house, this is the 10th house of profession. If Sun plus Mars are here in Scorpio sign, if 8 number is here and Sun and Mars are written here, then definitely one is going to be a very successful surgeon. This is another combination. Now move to the next combination, that is in this chart, if anywhere in the Kendra Bhav. Kendra Bhav are these houses 1, 4, 7, and 10. These are Kendra houses. If in any of the Kendra house, Mars, suppose Mars is here in number 4. Why number 4? Because Mars in number 4 is debilitated. If Mars is here in number 4 in debilitated condition, here in 4th house or here in 7th house or here in 10th house, if in any of the Kendra Bhav Mars is in number 4 and Saturn is of number 7 in any of the Kendra house, it definitely make you a famous surgeon. Once again, I'm telling you, Mars in number 4 and Saturn in number 7 means Saturn is exalted and Mars is afflicted. This is an ideal condition for becoming a famous surgeon. One more combination is that in any of the house, if Sun plus 3 other planets or Moon plus 3 other planets are written in any of the house, you have a greater possibility to go in medical line. Now, since medical profession connects with people and 4th house is of people, if somehow your 4th house is linked with your 10th house, then this is another conjunction or combination when you can become a doctor. One more point to be taken into consideration for becoming a doctor is regarding moon. Moon should be afflicted. When will it be afflicted? When it is aspected by malefic planets. Why it should be so? Because moon is emotion. If a doctor gets emotional, he cannot cure. He should not be heartless though, but his moon should be aspected by malefic planets. If so, he can handle adverse situations better. He is not swayed away by emotions. One more rule is that if your ascendant means the lord of the first house is sitting in the house of disease, that is sixth house, house of long term diseases, that is eighth house, or house of hospital, that is 12th house. This is also the rule for becoming a doctor. Now, if your third house lord or third house is anyhow connected with the 10th house and Mars is here in the third house, then you can become a good surgeon because it is courage represented by Mars and this is profession. So if these two houses connect with each other, this is also a good combination for medical line. So these were some of the combinations that really help in pushing one to medical line. Now we talk about the aspect of Jupiter because the aspect of Jupiter creates the ability to cure patients and doctor. Besides, it also creates a feeling of public welfare in the heart of a doctor. So, Jupiter must be connected with any of the houses or planets responsible for becoming a doctor. Why I am saying so? Because these kind of combinations ensure that the person will do surgery. So the surgery is done by a murderer too, but that is to kill someone, harm someone. And surgery is done by a doctor to save someone, to give life to someone. And this feeling of welfare is created by the aspect of the Jupiter. So Jupiter should also be there to ensure all these things. Now let me show you the birth chart of a doctor where you can practically examine the planets, how they are interconnected and making it an ideal for a doctor. See, this is the house of profession, 10th house, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the number is written 9 here, which is Sagittarius. The Lord is Jupiter, but this house is 10th, 10th, 11, 12. About the houses, I have already told you. So this is the 10th house, the house of profession, Karma Bhav. The number is written 9. 9 number represents, I have already told you the numbers. You can see here. You can see it here. This 9 number represents Jupiter. So you have to see where Jupiter is seated here in this chart. Jupiter is the lord of this 10th house, but sitting somewhere else. Where it is sitting? It is sitting in 11th house. Means house of fulfillment of desire. 10th house lord is sitting in the 11th house, house of fulfillment of desire, under the sign number 10. This 10 number represents Saturn. 10 number represents Saturn. And Saturn is sitting here in the 6th house. This is 6th house, house of disease. So you can see that a connection between 6th house, 10th house and 11th house is established. Is that clear? Now, see the 6th house Lord, number 5, that is Sun. Number 5 is Sun. Sun is sitting here in the 4th house, in the house of public, and putting its aspect, 7th aspect, on the 10th house. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sun, which is responsible for medical line, is putting an aspect on the 10th house. So now this connection is established between 4th house, 10th house. Now one more house is added, 4, 6, 10, 11. Okay. Now one more thing you have to see is that 10th house Lord Jupiter, here Jupiter's aspect we have to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on Moon, Mars, Mercury. Moon. 10th house Lord Jupiter's 5th aspect lies on Moon, which is the Lord of 5th house. See, 4 number is Moon. This house is of education. 5th house is of education. So your education is getting connected to your profession through the aspect of Jupiter. Jupiter is the Lord of 10th house, having 5th aspect on Moon, which is the Lord of your 5th house, that is the house of education. Means your education is making connection with your 10th house. So this ensures that whatever the education you get, you will work in that field. That education will work for you. And what that education or profession be, that is ensured by your 6th house, the house of disease, that is medical. Now see the Lord of courage, that is Mars. Mars is seated here in the 3rd house, that is house of courage, and Mars is responsible for courage, sitting here in its good house and aspected by Jupiter. So Mars is also good here and responsible for medical line. And the Mars is also having 1, 2, 3, 4th aspect on the house of disease. Now the last thing, we have to check the position of Moon. See, the Moon is sitting here in the 3rd house with Mercury and Mars. So with Mars, it has become debilitated. Besides, the aspect of Ketu, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ninth aspect of Ketu is also lying on Moon, making it afflicted. So an afflicted Moon is also good for an allopathic doctor. One more thing I forgot to tell here is that the seater in the house of disease, that is 6th house, Saturn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Saturn is also putting its 10 aspect on Moon, afflicting it. So this was the calculation for an allopathic doctor. Now we talk about the doctor for Ayurvedic. What we have to see? See, the sun and the moon are the karaka of herbs and Ayurvedic medicines. And Jupiter is a good counselor. So, if Sun, Moon, and Jupiter are well seated in any of the Kendra or Trikona house and making a connection with the house of disease, that is sixth house, eighth house, or the house of hospital, 12th house. This is an ideal conjunction or condition for becoming an Ayurvedic doctor. Now the last, for homeopathic doctor, if moon is seated here in the lagna and Jupiter along with Ketu is seated anywhere in the Kendra house, making connection with the 6th, 8th, or 12th, tells us that one can be an homeopathic doctor. Dear friends, there are several other conjunctions and conditions which are seen for a doctor, which are not possible to be discussed here all. For that, the whole analysis of your birth chart is required. So this was my calculation, dear friends. I hope that you might have liked it. You can now check in your birth chart whether your children or you yourself is having probability to be a doctor in future. Thank you.